I saw these people painting rocks online. They were painting like these mandalas, and the way they were doing it was kind of different than I had done it. You know, usually like if I'm painting on dots on pottery, I'm using brushes or slip trailing, but they were using these tools, so I looked online to see if I could find them. And I found this whole box of, it's actually a Mandala Art Tool Kit. So let's see what's inside. Let's see how to draw mandalas. And then it's got some different patterns for you and some of the different tools that are in it. And then a pattern for you to practice on, a couple patterns. Oh good, well if nothing else, then I've got a new sponge for my pottery. Oh, okay, they got me some brushes. So that'll be interesting. We'll try some of those, some different sizes and like flats and angled, that kind of thing. Those are rubber tip tools. See, there. Oh, I guess this is an easel. Of course, I don't think we would need that unless I was really working on some sort of piece of clay, you know, to do the mandalas on. I'm not sure what this is exactly. I'm gonna have to read through the instructions and find out what that is. These are like little tubes. They're just little jewels, I guess. Okay. Oh, it looks like they give you some canvases to work on. A soft eraser, so that's nice. There's a bunch of stencils, so it looks like you can, ooh, this will be, I think I could really put those on slabs and even do slip trailing over it or underglaze painting on top of it. Looks like these are already pre-divided and you can put those on your pieces and I guess trace around there to get your pattern on there and put whatever design you want. Oh, good. I use these all the time when I'm painting. I'll put the underglazes in each one of the little dimples so I can use that. This is a white pencil. I'm sure that you use it on those black canvases that they gave you. Now these are the tools that I was interested in. Actually, when I was trying to find them, I was looking in the fingernail painting section because, you know, especially with these little tinies, they were doing a lot of dot painting on fingernails with those. And then they're double tipped so that on the other side, I mean, you have a little bit bigger dots here, even going down to the little teeny weenies on the sides there. Here's some more tools even with even bigger dots to make bigger tools. And of course, those are also double tipped.
Take one of those out.
Around, but they give you a nice little carry bag. Man, I'm really surprised. I spent around 13 to 15 bucks on this for the whole kit. And let's say even if this is a bust, I still end up with some tools that I really will enjoy using, I think, and I know I'll get a lot of use out of. So I think it was worth it for me. All right, I can't wait to start playing.
Let's start with these ball tip tools. I'm sure there are different ways to paint with these, but I'll show you what worked best for me. I'll be using Amico underglazes to paint all these projects. For the best results, the underglaze needs to be the consistency of a thin yogurt. I just dip the tip of the ball into the underglaze. For a dot, it's a quick press onto the clay surface. For a teardrop, just press and pull down. As the underglaze transfers to the clay, the trail diminishes into a teardrop shape. Each ball tip is a different size, and as you can see, the resulting dots and teardrops remain consistent with each tool. Let's see what we get when we use these strokes on a piece of greenware. If I pull teardrops in a pattern of 4s and one dot at the bottom, they'll have a sort of floral vibe, which I think will be interesting. To add more interest, I'm pulling each series of lines in a different direction than the ones next to them. When I get most of the space filled in with that pattern, I'm changing the size of the tool and adding dots to some of the bigger gaps. For even more interest and to fill in more gaps, I'm using some of the smallest tools and adding rows of small dots along the sides of the patterns. I don't want to forget the neck of the vase. Starting from the bottom of the neck, I just pulled teardrops upward in different sizes. Then I dotted the top of each one. Now here's one that I made earlier where I also painted the top of the vase solid black and really had fun filling in the gaps between the pattern. From the side view, you can see that I extended that pattern to the bottom. Here it is all finished. I glazed with 3 layers of Amico C11 clear. I high-fired it to cone 5 with a 6-minute hold. The complement of the black to the white is always stunning. Remember these tools that were in the box? I figured out that these are dotting rods. They're simple but good tools to make consistent dots. Each of the rods have incremental widths, making it easier to create the mandala types of patterns. Using the slightly thickened up underglaze, I just dipped the tip and made the dot. Again, the dots are very consistent with the size rod that you use, so you can anticipate what it'll look like. Unlike the ball tool, if you make dots in a line, they remain the same size versus decreasing in size. For fun, I mixed up little cups of different colored underglazes for a festive piece. Starting with the smallest rod, I began by dotting around the center neck, just spacing them by eye. I switched to the next bigger sized rod and changed colors, then dotted in between each one of the earlier dots. I continued this pattern around and down. The consistency of the tools makes the work go fast. Once I got towards the break point of my piece, I changed up the pattern with smaller vertical rows of dots. I decided to mix techniques a bit and do little teardrops upward along the neckline. I also made dots over the teardrops. For emphasis, you can also dot over top of dots for a more layered look. I thought some teardrops around the big dots might give definition to the piece. Jim says they look like mustaches. I then added a row of black dots over the middle blue dots and some in between the teardrops for symmetry. Now here's one I made earlier, starting from the center with the dotting rods, but then changing up the pattern in direction and technique. As the shape of the piece is different, I had to make design decisions along the taller edge, so here's what I came up with there. I bisque fired it to cone 04, then glazed it with Amico C11 clear for this look. It reminds me a bit of Polish pottery design. Also in the kit, there were a lot of neat templates. Even though I can't really place them flat on the curved surface to trace them, I can use them for inspiration. Let's use this branchy leaf template. First, I need to know how to divide the piece. I first counted how many leaves were in the center. There are 8. Then I counted how many rows of leaves there were down the design, which there's 4. Using the trimming spinner, I divided the piece into 8 sections by looking for the green lines around the disc. I then extended each mark down the piece. I could then lay the template down on the clay, straddling one of the vertical lines, and trace one of the leaf branches. This showed me where to mark each of the 4 horizontal lines around the piece. Using the mid-size ball tool, I started filling in the leaf shapes with teardrops. I continued that same leaf pattern around the whole first row. I changed colors and went up 1 tool size, but continued with the same leaf patterns on the second row. Changing color and tool size again, I made the next row of leaves. I made vertical leaves along the last row. Since they look like bamboo leaves, I used a detailer brush to add the branches. I used one of the small ball tip tools to connect the leaves to the branches. I like those upside down teardrops going up to the rim, so I added those. I dotted each one. As each branch had a gap between them, I thought orange dots would contrast with the blue and green of the leaves and add warmth to the design. Now here's my interpretation of that template. Of course, you might also see snowflakes or some other pattern. Here's another one that I did earlier using this pattern as inspiration. I embellished it a little to fit the space on the piece. Again, I just coated it with 3 layers of the C11 clear glaze for this shiny look. I can see that I'm going to have fun with some of those other mandala templates. And remember that you don't have to purchase a whole kit to do this. You can use items around the house such as dowel rods to make dots or use beads for the ball tools. Thanks to the newest members of our Little Street Pottery Research Facility team. If you'd like to join the team and earn a title, click on the Super Thanks button or the link to buy me a coffee. It also really helps us out if you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. See you next time in the studio.